Something I find helpful every time I'm working on music or just trying to pursue something that's very difficult to pursue, which is a constant motivating push towards being a better artist, musician, producer, songwriter, mixer, all of it. If you're trying to keep improving yourself on a daily basis, here's some things I find helpful. In the same way you craft a song from scratch, you start with nothing, maybe an idea, and then you got to start somewhere. You got to lay down the first chords. You got to do something, and then that will inform what happens next. What I want you to realize is every single person out there who has their opinion about what's possible in life and what's not possible in life, they are writing their life story day by day, just like you are. And if somebody's telling you anything, if they're taking a minute of their life to tell you something negative, then that person, more often than not, is living a miserable life. And not only are they living a miserable life, they've had things happen to them that they have not recovered from, they can't shake off, they cannot work the next day and the day after that. With that, maybe as a way to learn, but not as a driving force to block them from the idea that more is possible, from the idea that anything that you could want in this world could potentially be yours if you work hard enough. Now, everyone's going to think, yeah, you got to get lucky also, all this stuff. Forget about that for now. You know how many people stop working hard enough because of those other reasons that could come up? Maybe they think they need luck. They think it's not as easy as it used to be. They think they're too old. They could think anything. They're not talented enough. They're not skilled enough. I can't express to you how the older I get, the more I realize that there's so many people out there who have made it who aren't super talented. They're talented, but so are you. And so is a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there who are very talented, but they don't actually keep trying hard enough on a daily basis for as long as it takes, while informing what they're doing by what's going on in the world. In other words, they're not just in an isolated bubble, not experiencing life and not considering that some things they're doing should be changed, not manipulating themselves in a way where they're actually molding to become better. In other words, you have to be willing to do things to improve who you are. You must be willing to accept that you could be wrong. You must be willing to accept that you might think you know what you're doing in some case of something and you don't. You must allow for the possibility that there's more that you don't know. And if you can't do that, you will have already lost before you started. That's the thing, is like, I find a common theme, and you guys probably have seen it too. The most successful people, more often than not, are also the most humble. And not only are they the most humble, they always realize that there's more out there than they are capable of. They always acknowledge people who have helped them, and they acknowledge that there are people who are better than them. They acknowledge who's taught them something. Most of the time, the people that make it and make it for a long time, they have a lot of longevity, are these kind of people that have they have the understanding, the open mind to realize there's so much more that they don't know, and they're always trying to learn. And there's people out there who might know more than they do. And that's what I want you to realize, is if the people who have made it know that, how come the people who haven't made it don't know it? The people who haven't made it don't know that it's not about being the most talented. It's not about being the most prolific even. I mean, it's really not about any of those things. It is about who works harder than everybody else for a longer period of time, and who believes more than everybody else that they will make it. That belief, that will you make it or not, comes down to up here. It's a mindset. The people that I know who have made it had the mindset from the time they were young, where they would just keep going because they knew they were supposed to make it. In their mind, they knew that if anybody can make it, they can make it. And that's what I think is missing from a lot of people, especially people who you might feel that way for 1 day or 2 days or a week, and then you hit that depression, and then you don't, and then, something doesn't go well. Maybe, the expectations that you might have had aren't good. Chaos Dynamics mentioned that also. They said, don't have expectations. There's a truth to that, because it's the same concept where if you give to someone else with an expectation of getting in return, if that's the reason you're giving, you're never going to get anything back. And you're coming at it from the wrong angle completely. And what you wind up doing for them is not actually in good faith. You don't get the reward you would get from helping somebody. You don't get any of that because you're expecting in return. It's just like an artist who makes something and then expects in return that everyone should love it and this should become amazing, and they are owed that in their mind. When you look at it from that point of view, first of all, you're not really being honest with yourself or about the art. You need to be honest when you create the art. Whatever it is that you think moves you, makes you feel sad, strong, scared, reality, deep within, what is it that really pulls on your heartstrings? And what is it that you have to say? That's what you should be doing. That's what you should be talking about. That's what the art you should be making. It's really connecting who you are with what you are creating. Because that's the part where I think so many people who try and then give up at some point, or try and then not only they give up, they try to talk others out of trying. They're always the ones that never really connected themselves with the art. They didn't dig deep enough. If they weren't breaking down while they were writing it, if they weren't practically in tears while they're putting it down, if it doesn't make them feel goosebumps and, that feeling all over where you got like the chills, you didn't go deep enough. You didn't get below the surface. I find artists, because I know this about myself, I find artists in general, we are the most moody people there are. A lot of us have mood swings that are serious swings, ups and downs that are huge, because that's what it takes to be an artist in a way. I think a lot of us are more in touch with our emotions or our feelings or something. We're in touch with, maybe some of us aren't in touch with all of them. Like we shelter some of them off, and we pretend, or we put up a facade to protect ourselves about some of our emotions, but we show others. But a lot of us, and the more in tune you get with who you are, the more you show. And what winds up happening is, your moods could go with that. You could be happy, sad, so much greater of a distance between the two than somebody who's not in touch with their emotions at all. But that allows you to write the great stuff, or to write the music that makes you feel that way if you don't write lyrics, or to be able to literally put days and days and weeks into a song, whether mixing it, producing it, whatever you're doing, months. It's to try to make something that does give you those feelings, because that you're not experiencing it yet, and that's all you know. There's no right or wrong way here. I'm just trying to let everyone know that those of us that feel that, you have a leg up. You have a better chance because you're closer to the feelings than the people that aren't. So you're way closer to being able to experience and bring others into your experience, because there's just a thin veil between you and how you really feel, between what you show the world and what's really there. It's just a little thin nothing. That's why it's so easy for you to get to that. You just nick the surface and it starts pouring out. Whereas people who have never been in touch with their feelings, emotions, they don't know how to cry. They feel embarrassed about talking about who they really are. They feel embarrassed about sharing themselves in a video or a song or anything. They're embarrassed about they don't think they're good. I mean, we all feel all these emotions we feel. But those of us that can actually, get our feelings closer to the surface, you're closer to actually being able to write the thing or put together the piece of art that will actually move people. So, in my opinion, that's a great thing. It's a great thing to be one of those people. I feel lucky to be one of those people. And I think you guys are too, because anybody who's devoted their life to music, and if you found my channel and you're over here, that's probably why. Because we all go through the same stuff. The only reason I could talk about it is because I've been through it. I continue to go through a lot of it. And I remember starting out, I remember the feelings, all of them, all up till right now. I am very connected with my memory of how I felt. And I'm telling you, it's not a bad thing if you feel all sorts of ways and you can't get yourself out of a depression. You should realize the more upset, sad, and all this stuff you are, you're just not channeling it. You're just not turning it into the work. If you could direct that like a weapon, you would get to a point where all of a sudden now you're way closer to doing things that you're happy with, that you're proud of, that give you whatever feeling you're trying to elicit. It's like you're getting all the feelings. They're just directed internally at you rather than turning it out into the work. Put it into your creative work. I'm telling you, even if it's one song, start doing that. The things that make you upset about yourself, write them down. Put them in a song. Put them in a piece of prose. Put them into something. Lyrics. Make something that people will relate to because it's so real about who you are. That's the stuff people want to hear. That's the stuff that's missing from a lot of music today, but not the stuff that hits, because it doesn't matter how it's thrown at you. I'm a fan of deep diving into lyrics, and I don't usually do it at first. I almost need to like the song first, and then I do that. But it's amazing to me how many songs actually became successful where the lyrics are so real and tell like a real story about things that happened, and everyone relates to it almost when they don't even know all the words and they can't really connect the dots. I would sing lyrics wrong very, very often. When I sing a song that I know that's on the radio, I'm singing the lyrics totally wrong until I look them up and go, oh, that's what they're saying. But the funny thing is, because the emotion's there, because so much of what they're saying connects with what I'm thinking, I'm connecting the dots in a way that sort of makes the lyrics my own. But I still get the connection. And then when I read everything they're saying, now I understand what they were saying, but just the emotion and what they were feeling, because it was so real, meant something to me. And I create my own connections of the dots that aren't even the real words, and it means just as much. It's just not exactly the same story they were telling. There's so many examples of that in songs. I don't even want to get into so many of them, because then people will dissect whether that's a good or bad song or not. And that's got nothing to do with what I'm saying. So the bottom line is, you have all of this stuff in you to get anywhere you want to go. Write the stuff that will take you there. And it's the stuff that makes you upset, cry, scared, embarrassed, sad, happy. The real stuff, what you won't talk about. Don't even write a song if it's the stuff you will talk about. It should be the things you would only tell in the privacy of your own home, or something like the secret stuff that you keep that you don't want people to know. Figure out how to write that down, because if nothing else, it will heal you. But more importantly than that, it will actually get something down that moves you every time you say it or sing it. And then watch what happens with the lyrics you record, the vocals you do, the music you put together for it, the chords you build under it, the arrangement. Watch what happens when the whole thing is something that moved you from the jump. It's totally different. It's not what you've been doing. And that could be a big key for you getting from one place to another, is having that epiphany of that amazing thing that you're going to create. So if you stuck around this long, I hope you create something. I hope you do. I really hope so. Maybe the world needs it. All right? Throw something in the comments. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate it. And there's tons more to come. Write that piece of music. Evan Jaffe, Custom Cut Studios. You guys got this. Take it easy.